Hello and welcome to Talks Without Borders, Oblakoder's new podcast that's both in English and in Serbian. If you understand English, you can just listen to it, but if you need a translation, it is down here on our YouTube video. Today we're again talking about Italy, and we will continue talking to our two guests who you had the chance to meet in our previous episode, our third episode. Their names are Anđelom Krstić and Albertom Mangilijem. They're both journalists who had experience going abroad, working abroad, studying abroad, and they have shared their experiences with us in the previous episode. So if you're thinking about going somewhere abroad for an exchange or something similar, just to broaden your experiences, you should watch the previous episode, but you can continue watching this one as well. Alberto, Anđela, thank you for being our guests again. And welcome to our new podcast. It would be good to hear something from you now. Something.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you again.
Just to see, if the sound is working, if everything is okay, if we have stable connection. I think that by now we do, definitely. So you have shared both your experiences in going abroad. You both have very, very positive experiences. And now this episode will focus more on cross-examining your experiences. So Alberto, you have been to Serbia and you have traveled here. And Anđela, you've obviously fallen in love with Italy. That's from what we've heard. What were the best things that you did not expect but you have faced or have seen? Alberto, you in Serbia, Anđela, you in Italy.
So this is a question I would have to think about because I cannot really single out one best experience that I've had. Something that I did not expect was something I mentioned in the previous episode because I was so taken aback by it. It was the risotto in a bag that you could buy in the store and just instantly cook it. And now whenever anyone I know goes to Italy, I just ask them to bring me back some of that risotto because I really liked it. It was really cheap and accessible and I ate it just all the time. But overall, Italy was just very similar to our country in some ways. The day-to-day life. So many of the experiences were very positive and kind of felt familiar.
Mm-hmm. What felt most familiar to you? What are the things that you think that we share with Italy?
I think the hospitality of the people, they just are very happy and, very available when you ask them something. Maybe I think I've noticed they're more talkative on the streets. That's something I really have noticed. And also your local shop assistants will remember you. That's one very positive thing I remember. And I was going to this bookshop almost every day because it was by my university and I always needed to get something for my studies. And the last day when I came there to just print out my ticket back to Serbia, they just asked me, well, you're all smiley all the time. Like, why are you all sad today? What happened? And I was so amazed by, just them remembering me, remembering that I come to their shop every other day, and them being genuinely concerned as to why I'm so sad. So I explained I'm going back to Serbia, I won't be seeing you again. And they gave me this whole speech about how everyone that ever came to Rome found their way back. And it was so touching and they were really encouraging. And they told me, oh, come on, you must miss your country. You'll just go back there and spread the positive experience. And they were also nice to me. So that is one thing. I think, that kind of surprised me the most, that I was memorable to a shop assistant, just like I am in Serbia.
Okay, Alberto, what do you think about Angela's experience? Is it just the love effect, or is it true what she said?
Yeah, I think it's true. I just firstly want to say that probably, of course, Italy, maybe we are going to talk about this. It's so different in size, so probably, of course, they say, but I want also to say that there are many stereotypes, of course. But one of these could be also that I'm from the north, and they say that northern people are colder. So probably Angela should maybe should have not had the same experience in the north, but she could also have a better one. So it's impossible to say this, but of course it's good to hear this, because I think nice people are everywhere. So it's in Rome, it's in Milan, it's elsewhere. I think that it's good when, of course, when you are not in of that place, of course, but people care about you. And this, of course, happens in Italy, happens in Serbia too. And I also had some experiences like this of abroad people, or maybe I was abroad, of local people caring about me. And of course, these are features that empower, that really boost our experience and our life. So I completely agree, and I feel her happiness for this, and it's good.
And how was your experience in Serbia? What were the most positive things?
In Serbia, as I said, I was really little, but I remember that I had great expectation about walls, because in my all favorite cities there are walls, giant walls. For example, Bergamo, Verona, Lucca, Warsaw too, and Belgrade. And I really love them, Kalemegdan. So it was so good. I spent a great day there. And to talk about something about hospitality, I remember I was in the hostel with this guy who was a supporter. The host was a supporter of Crvena Zvezda, and in the evening there was the football match. I would have loved to go to the stadium, but it was supporters were banned, so we watched the game in the hostel. I'm also a collector, a football collector, everything collector, to be honest. And I bought, and I have this one here to show that I've really been in Serbia. So this is the book of Red Star Belgrade. But of course, I'm a collector, and this guy was a true supporter. And because I'm a collector, I should also have to buy something of the rival team. And I showed to him, and I asked to him, can I watch the game as well also now if I show you this, to be honest. But we had a great evening, of course, and yeah, I would like to spend some more time in Belgrade and in Serbia too. So I think it's just about time in the future. Yeah,
it's definitely a good start. It starts with a funny story, so that's a good thing. So what were the biggest something that caught your eye, the biggest differences? It's a question for both of you. Something that was strange for you to see, or something that you see is different.
So the first that comes to mind is the lunch break, because in Serbia we do not have that. The 2-hour break in the office hours of a store, of a bank, of any kind of service, of any kind of institution. And I would just try and go to the bank at maybe 2 p.m. and then I would see closed for a lunch break. And then I noticed that everywhere they did that, because the Italians really wanted to make their lunchtime special. And then, yeah, I remember when I was little, my parents also would come back, you know, home and eat their lunch and then come back to work. So, yes, that's one difference that I, as a working person in Serbia, have not noticed before that we had. I mean, my lunch break was short and sweet, and then we would continue on, but no shops would just close for 2 hours for their lunch break. So that was the most obvious one. Then again, the nutrition, I think maybe it was a coincidence because I was practically a foreigner in that country, but the way they ate was mostly carb based, and I remember just eating so many carbs, while in Serbia I was just, you know, used to eating so much meat. But maybe that is an individual thing. And I needed to kind of get used to the sweet breakfast because my Italian friends would try and like to eat the croissant and, you know, with some coffee, while I was begging my Serbian friends to bring me some pasteta, you know, the spreadable meat for my bread, because I wanted my salty breakfast in the morning. Also the coffee, you know, as much as I admire Italian coffee culture and I loved it and I indulged in it, it was really nice when my Serbian friends brought me our Turkish coffee that I would have in the exam season, because it really helped me. And maybe one other thing that surprised me, maybe it's specific for the place where I've been, maybe the whole Italy has it, but the coffee machines, where we would play a memory game while waiting for our coffee, that was just mind-blowing to me. And then when I came back to Serbia, to my university, when I would go to the coffee machine, I was like, so where's the game to entertain me while I wait? That was something I really missed about it.
That is very, very specific, but also very cute. Thank you. Alberto, what was your experience?
Yeah, I firstly want to say that I could agree with the food, with the time of food, but of course this is also an internal division, because probably in the north it is believed that we eat maybe before, and I joke with my southern Italy friends because maybe when I'm having dinner they I don't say that they're finished their lunch, but maybe we are not so far from that. But of course everyone has his schedule about food. Of course in my situation it always depended, for example, by sport or other duties, so of course it's up to this. But I totally agree with the breakfast, and it's something that I really like when I'm abroad, because also when I've been to Croatia there was not a sweet breakfast. In Italy I'm used to have a sweet breakfast always when I'm abroad. When I was in Poland, for example, always other type of breakfast. And maybe I also noticed that I was eating at every time without a schedule, of course, and probably not healthy at all, but I think it was good to break the schedule. And yeah, I can spot this one as the biggest difference for what I experienced. Then I can say that when I will come back to Serbia, I will try to notice more differences, of course, maybe not only about this, but maybe more about people, because I didn't have the opportunity to talk with many Serbian people, because it was a really quick trip and I walked a lot. I did many things, but almost on my own. So yeah, I would do it.
But nothing you saw on the outside was very shocking to you or unusual?
Yeah, on the outside, for example, I don't like to compare cities and buildings, but I think it's unavoidable more when we experience many cities, many travels. So it's bad, in my opinion. I try to not do this, but it's really unavoidable, as I said. And yeah, about Belgrade, I remember that I was expecting a different city because, of course, I had some images in my head about Sava, Danube, and maybe about the top buildings. But I thought I wasn't expecting like these hills. I don't know how to say, because it reminded to me a bit San Francisco, of course. Maybe it's quite strange, but you have to understand this sentence. And it was strange because also I remember that I found the richer part of the city after a while. So I came to Belgrade with just a summary knowledge of that. I don't like, and this refers to all, I don't like to see many pictures of the city before going there. Of course, for example, with New York or San Francisco is impossible, but maybe Belgrade, which is not under the biggest lights of media, of course, I think this also could give us a better and more genuine experience. And of course, in Belgrade, I had this one at all.
Can you explain, with this podcast, we want to expand the views of young people about traveling and about living only in one place and maybe going abroad and having different experience. Can you explain shortly for you what all of your traveling experience, when you go somewhere, meet a new culture, what do you gain with them? It's a bit of a philosophical question, so I can understand the pause, but shortly.
Well, you do gain experiences, of course, and valuable memories. Whether it being good or bad, it's still an experience. And yeah, it stays with you forever. But you also kind of get to know yourself, especially if you travel alone or you spend some time on your own, you know, just sightseeing alone and maybe interacting with the locals. So then you challenge yourself, especially if the locals do not speak English or, you know, any other languages widely spoken in the world. So that is, I think, a pretty valuable thing to learn from in your life in general.
Okay, Alberto.
Yeah, I agree, because I think that from my experience I saw many places, but my favorite one abroad is always Warsaw. And of course I had the opportunity to experience it more and more, and I think that our knowledge, our life, it's up to us to boost it. But I think that people can travel a lot, and maybe also try to travel in not so commonplace. I don't mean that you have to avoid London or Paris, biggest cities, because I found great experiences also in London. But probably Warsaw, even if it's a capital city, is not one of the top favorite from people. But of course it depends. I think that Belgrade should have been my second choice, and it's not to. I'm not saying this for you, but it's written also on my thesis, so it's verified. Because I think even if we can stay one day, just one day in a place, we can understand maybe something that we can understand only being there. And in Belgrade, I had many ideas, many flashes in my head to make me think about, wow, it would be cool to live here. And of course, in other places, even if maybe you stay there for a week, for a month, you say, I don't like to live here. So of course, only traveling, making experiences, and never, in my opinion, never focus on what other people say at all. but go and try, because if I would have listened other people about Warsaw, I probably would have missed a great piece of my life. So go and think what we really think.
Again, we have a motivational quote for our ending. But before we end, very, very shortly, how can we empower young people to travel and connect with other young people from different countries? Do you have some bright ideas?
Maybe showcasing experiences such as ours, could really motivate someone, because I remember from my own experience, I was the first one to break the ice in my generation and just go abroad and do some kind of exchange. And then all of a sudden, my other friend was going to an educational 2-week program in Germany. My other friend signed up for a scholarship for a course in Italy for a month, and she loved it. She went to Perugia, which is beautiful. Also, my friends from Niš, who studied something completely different than, what I did, they just went to Bulgaria for a 2-week course. So, everybody, when they just saw and heard what they experienced, they wanted that for themselves. And even though they thought it was not that accessible to them, they just found the opportunities. All of a sudden, they saw it all around them, so they took it. And I think it's really important to showcase all of that.
I completely agree. Alberto?
I think that when we choose to do an experience, particularly abroad, we just have to consider one point, firstly, and is that even if maybe it won't be so good, it's always growing, because even bad trips or other bad situation abroad, I think they are good for us, because we grow up, we learn new things, and maybe they help us to maybe also choose better in other situation. I had also bad situations abroad, but I never felt scared or worried or thinking about why I did this, why did I do this, but always trying to see the best, because if we stay only at home, we just have a few sight of the world, and of course we can do it with social media and everything like this, but real experience is impossible to switch with this. So if we have the opportunity, we can build our opportunities also with few money, just with our real desire to go. And then it's like a trip, it's like a puzzle that we are building. So I see no bad point in traveling and experiencing abroad, really.
Definitely, and it broadens your perspective. It is a place where you can, as Anđela mentioned, meet yourself and get to know yourself better, but also get to know a lot of interesting people. Alberto and Anđela, it was an honor talking with you. Thank you for being my guest today, but also in the previous episode as well. And I both wish you very much luck in your future travels, and to see and travel to any place that you wish for.
Thank you, it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to be here. Thank you.
And we'll be here for the next episode, where we will be traveling to a new country. Which one? Follow Oblakoder and you will see.